You are listening and watching to a very special podcast. Alright, I got more on Lizzy Days. This is her point of view on things, and you get to see through her eyes and know what's going on. Anyway, enjoy. The news was catching on quickly. A mysterious infestation eating its own adversary. Now everyone was referring it as the Exterminator. Lizzy felt it was amused by all this. Did you hear? Lizzy called. They're calling me the Exterminator. Even they don't know if I'm actually a girl. Why, of course not. If they actually knew who you were, then people would be on a riot. But then again, there's this one corporation known as Evermore. The infamous Evermore? I thought that was just myths. Oh no, not really. My God, he muttered. What? Can you believe this? The people that were suffering from these terminal illnesses. What? Look, all of these victims that were at the beach. It was supposed to be a day for them because they knew they weren't going to live much longer. I'm sorry, I misheard you. Could you repeat that? They were suffering from terminal illnesses. Lizzy slammed her hand down. That can't be. So, somebody didn't do this out of cruelty? They just did it? What the heck? And this is why he has to go and kill my friends? What was the point? Failed attempts? Well, that was the rest for that one place. We managed to find it. But let me tell you, what we saw was a horror show. Oh, a big mess. Red, bones. It was like walking into a haunted house full of dismemberment. It was really disgusting. Wow. That's actually really skin-crawling. I know, Besnick said. But somebody knew about these people were dying from terminal illnesses. That's why he had to go and save them. But I'm not going to glorify this man for what he did. He needs to know this is not how it's supposed to be. I know. That's why I don't know. Do you want to know what's weird? All of a sudden, I'm suddenly, like, eating the infestations, but also, at the same time, I'm seeing visions in my head of their suffering, as if I haven't seen enough. So you can see visions of them, of their memories. Yeah, it's like eating brains and then getting visions. Wait, why does that sound familiar? Maybe it's because of that one comic book about this one girl who has to eat brains and gets visions. And she's trying her best to keep her secret. Isn't that right? Besnick asked with a smile. Yeah, you got that right. But this Evermore, do you think maybe some of them might listen? Who knows? Some of them may think you, well, they don't know it's you, but they think that this Exterminator could be a hero. Or some are saying that it's an abomination. But you can use this type of ability to find the person responsible for this atrocity that's been going on, Besnick said with enthusiasm. Now that's a pretty good idea. I know. It's a splendid idea. Really fascinating. Can you believe this? It's going to be really interesting, but we can't let them know who you are or what we are. But we're going to have to find someone we can trust on this. Well, there's that legendary Barrere Devlin I've been hearing about. I heard that she took down an entire army of Nevermore soldiers. It was all because of a little girl that got shot down by them. What? I never heard that part. I thought she was a total psycho. Oh, she's not a psycho. She's a really good person. I've actually saw on the news about her, and she did an interview once. She is very much nice. She was even helpful towards people. And she said that she adores children too. I guess she is the all-loving hero, huh? There you go. But that still doesn't... I don't know. Should we? Of course, Besnick said. What, you're having second thoughts about this? Well, not really, Lizzie said. But if she can't help me out or anything, then I'm gonna have to find somebody else. But I have to, find some way, Lizzie said. Around this time, Lizzie managed to come across a blood bank, and she managed to sneak herself in and found a way to drink blood. But she realized she had to find some other way to find more people around here. However, it wasn't until she came across Barrere Devlin and of course some other strangers she never met before. Lizzie saw this and decided to follow them without being seen. But she noticed that one of them, by the name of Natsu, was getting pretty freaked out. To her own amusement, Lizzie decided, why not have a little fun with him? So that's what she did. It was kind of funny because Natsu was freaking out, and his face was always priceless. But Natsu freaked out when he actually saw Lizzie. Lizzie managed to drop character. Barrere was amazed to meet her. Lizzie was surprised by Barrere's kindness. So she decided to make herself human and talk to them for a bit, but soon noticed an infestation and devoured upon it. But Barrere and her friends were shocked. Lizzie noticed that they were staring as she ate, as she scolded at them, saying, "Do you mind? I'm eating here," she called. The others apologized and turned away. But once she was done, Lizzie called, "Okay, you can look now. I'm done." So Lizzie had to tell her story. Once Barrere knew that everyone in that group decided to keep her identity a secret to help her out. But they soon came across Besnick, who managed to came across the egg seeds and was up in high suspension of the air. When he let go by accident, he almost fell, but Barrere saved him. Sooner or later, Lizzie and Besnick managed to create some sort of blood donation that seemed convincing. It seemed a bit wrong for this situation, but Lizzie had to drink some blood. But she didn't want to let her secret slip out. She managed to find more infestations, more meals, and more visions in her mind. She managed to see more visions that were so nightmarish she couldn't stand it. She saw a little girl crying. She saw the little girl's mother begging for her child back. She even saw more terrifying things. Things that really made her skin crawl. There were people getting their legs torn apart. A woman screaming as she's got needles injected into her. There was somebody screaming as parts of her face was falling apart. Her cheeks. There was even more horrifying things. It was so painful to watch. No one could have stood out to watch all of this. The whole thoughts of it made Lizzie's stomach churned. She couldn't stand it. It was repulsive. Very, very repulsive. But Lizzie had to get to the bottom of it. No matter how sickening, no matter how cruel it seemed to see all of these visions floating, flooding her mind, she had to find out who or what is behind all of this. Those paramedics, they were still lingering in her head. She had to know who were they, but she could never identify them. There was also an investigation. The paramedics that were at the beach, they weren't paramedics at all, as it turned out. Lizzie thought to herself, I knew it. But the real ones, the real paramedics, claimed that they couldn't get there in time because their gear, their clothing to get there and help them out, they were all gone. They were supposed to come in for work, but they were told not to because their paramedic clothing was gone. Somebody had took them, stole them for all that mattered. The doctors and nurses were quite upset by all of this happening. They weren't too pleased, but they had to be a little more sympathetic to the workers too, feeling quite bad for them, but also frustrated, angry at the fact that this was happening. Who would go and steal the clothing of the paramedics and disguise themselves as their own? They took the rubber gloves, they took the mask to wear over their nose and mouth so they wouldn't catch any of the acid disease. Speaking of acid, there was a vat of melting acid found by the pier near the beach, near this board bridge, and where the vat was found. Lizzie was shocked. You mean somebody was up there and they poured that entire vat in there? How did I even not know this? She thought. It must have spread all around while everyone was in the water. But how could that even happen? Nobody knew for sure. But whoever it was, they were gonna pay big time. Thank you so much for listening and watching. See ya. Bye.